I'm sitting here with the Honourable Minister of Housing, Mr. Collin Croal. Minister, an emergency budget, but quite comprehensive in its sense. Your immediate reactions, and then we get into the measures announced for housing.
Sure, no problem. Thank you, Leroy. Yes, certainly. And it's only 1 month that we've completed since we're in office. And when you listen to all the measures that have been announced and you listen to the various sectors, this is immediately you can see it is intended to turn our economy over, to start the impetus so that we can generate income, so that persons can start to go back to their lives. And those are the measures that are in place. And from our government, it's actually commendable because we're already into the third quarter. And so past the third quarter, and you can see the measures and the amount of money that has been investing for the various sectors. And so we will do well.
330 million in the budget, but let's talk about housing specifically.
Oh, sure.
50,000 houses expected to come on stream within this first term.
Correct, 50,000, and on this budget alone, we are catering for the first 1,000. We're doing a number of land clearing exercise to start that first 1,000 distribution. And in the housing and water sector, I was so pleased to listen to so many on the measures that have been announced. And maybe if we probably separate the two, you have from the water sector, you have the announcement of the removal of the VAT on water.
Yes.
And so we are talking about over 172,000 households benefiting from that. And then you also have for the pensioners, and we're talking about 25,000 persons, both metered and unmetered, that are going to benefit for our pensioners. So there's a drive and for our sector in the water sector to ensure that right across our country, as was said, both urban, rural, and hinterland, so that we can expand and deliver more safe water. In terms of our housing sector, as we just spoke about, the medium term, and that's only our medium term, our medium term plan to have the 50,000 house lots distributed. You have the first 1,000 being done in this first year. In addition to the measures that have been announced, we also spoke about the moving of the low interest rate ceiling from $8 million to $10 million. So that makes it much more, the income much more disposable for persons to be able to access loan at a cheaper rate. Then you also have for the ceiling, the relief ceiling from 15 to 30 million. Well, it's a revert backwards because we had that measure of $30 million. They had moved it in 2017. In 2013, we had introduced it. In 2017, they had reduced it to 15 million. So in that, immediately, now it's going up back to $30 million. So that is going to benefit especially the middle and high income home owners. And so the relief measure, we're talking about 500,000 to $1 million for the individual borrowers over that period on that measure alone for the increasing of the ceiling to $30 million.
Quite a few measures announced. When does it all come together? When can one actually start accessing? We know the budget debate is supposed to happen. Does this mean that from October 1, persons can now benefit from some of these measures?
Correct. Well, there is going to amendment to the legislation will be required, and that can happen, of course, before the end of the 2 weeks debate, and immediately persons can start benefit from that. I want to make another mention in terms of the housing sector, though. Is for us in terms of working on a single window system, because in addition for house lots availability is to also focus we have a focus at the central housing level, that is in terms of permits. For construction now. And so sometimes persons complain the length of time that they take to get permits or when you have to deal with the various agencies, for example, the NDCs or the various local authorities, right, or getting permit from the fire association. So we are working on a single window system that within a month that you can have all the necessary approvals from these agencies through the Central Housing and Planning Authority, and so that persons can get their permits immediately, because they're taking a loan. Many of them are taking a loan, and then if you have have for months lay up in the system and the bottlenecks, well, of course, you have other things. It breeds other corruption and so other activities.
Understandable. Minister Croal, thank you very much for stopping by. I know it's been a marathon session. Best wishes going forward, and we will hear more from you during the debates.
Yes, yes. So those are my initial reactions.
Thank you very much, Minister. Have a good one.